Welcome to your Personal Child Specialist podcast. Don't you wish that children came with their own instruction manual? We know they don't. But how about getting the next best thing? By having your common parenting and children's health questions answered by Dr. Gaurav Gupta, MD from Charak Clinics, India.
Welcome to your Personal Child Specialist podcast, the podcast that talks about all things related to children's health. Today, I have with me Dr. Poonam Gupta, who has been a regular part of our podcast, and we are obviously going to discuss something to do with kids. Welcome to the show, Poonam.
Hi Gaurav, it's great to be back.
आज हम क्या बात करने वाले हैं? I will leave the decision to you, Poonam.
Oh my god, that's a tough one. But there was something which was going on in my head. In fact, एक patient ने पूछा था और मैं कुछ shopping करते हुए भी observe कर रही थी. All these drinks like Tang, Glucon D, ये काफी parents अपने बच्चों को देते हैं और बच्चे पसंद भी करते हैं. So this patient asked me, Doctor Sahab, is there any benefit of giving these drinks? Are they as good as like Nimbu Pani, Nariyal Pani? I didn't have a clear-cut answer and I directed them to you. But Gaurav, even I want to know, what is the difference? Why should we give them or not?
Great question. And I think it's more important for us because our dear daughter loves Tang too.
Yeah.
I think we need to start with the basic question which you had also been asking. Why do we need to give anything to the kids?
Exactly. I think the reason is गर्मियों में बच्चों को कुछ ना कुछ liquids देने होते हैं. Why not only water? Why should we give Nimbu Pani or Tang? What are we aiming at?
The number one choice of drink in summers will always be water. Water will never go out of fashion, just like white colored cars. But अगर हमारा बच्चा गर्मी में physical activity कर रहा है, then they also need sugar and they also need salts because sweating के अंदर बहुत सारा salt loss होता है. So three things: liquid, the water part, the sugar part to make sure that they have enough energy, and also electrolytes या जिसको हम नमक कहते हैं.
I think that makes perfect sense. ये तीनों चीजें चाहिए. आजकल तो बच्चे वैसे भी बहुत स्वेट कर रहे हैं, चाहे खेलें चाहे ना खेलें. Okay, so that makes it clear कि हमें देना क्या है. But ये चीजें तो आपके टैंग और इन सब ड्रिंक्स में भी हैं. What is the requirement? What should we aim at?
This led us to some impromptu research to figure out कि Nariyal Pani, which is probably a gold standard nature drink, versus any of these liquid drinks like Glucon C, Glucon D, Tang, and even Gatorade and stuff like that.
हमारे बचपन का drink.
When we started looking into it, this is what we found. The amount of sugar in all of these drinks, which are made artificially, is much higher. And this is obvious because they want it to taste very nice. On the other hand, जो नमक वाला part है, the sodium, the electrolytes, are generally much higher in the natural drinks. So for example, मैं सिर्फ coconut water और एक Tang का example ले रहा हूँ यहाँ पे. The coconut water has more than 100 mg of sodium, which is almost 10% of the requirement in 100 ml. जबकि अगर हम बात करें Tang की, it only has 13 mg of sodium in 100 ml. So you can see that नमक जो है वो उसके अंदर कम है.
Wow, that's a major difference.
Absolutely.
I didn't realize that.
Same here, to be honest, before researching for the podcast. And thank you, dear audience, for asking such questions because that makes us read up and try to, figure out something for your benefit.
That means इनमें फिर sugar ज़्यादा होगा.
Exactly. So out of 100 gram, more than 96 gram is carbs. अगर हम drinks की बात करते हैं. Imagine 100 ग्राम में 90 plus gram, 95 plus grams is just simple carbs.
No wonder kids love it.
So carbs content makes the drink sweet and the less sodium makes it less salty, which is not ideal in such a situation जहाँ पे हम लोग बच्चों को चाहते हैं कि उनका liquid intake ज़्यादा हो. Because इतना carbs होगा तो child will probably take a little less. They will start feeling full a bit sooner. And similarly, अगर नमक कम होगा तो उनका जो sweating का जो replacement है वो इतना अच्छा नहीं होगा. Poonam, nature really is awesome because they make such ideal stuff without even having to make any kind of pharmaceutical intervention, बिना कुछ डाले.
हाँ, ना तो कोई आपको प्रिजर्वेटिव चाहिए, ना आपको कोई उसके लिए मशीनरी चाहिए, सिर्फ पेड़ में से तोड़ना है, काटना है और पीना है.
So tell me, what other stuff do you recommend to kids who come to you other than नारियल पानी?
नारियल पानी का सबसे बड़ा ड्रॉबैक है, पेरेंट्स हैव टू गो एंड ब्रिंग इट. सो व्हाट आई टेल देम कि अगर आप स्कूल से वापस लेके आ रहे हो या किसी एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटी पे लेके जा रहे हो तो उस समय आते जाते रूटीन बना लो. एंड द अदर स्टफ इज नींबू पानी जरूर दें. यू कैन चेंज द रेशियो अकॉर्डिंग टू द टेस्ट. अपना नारियल पानी हो गया, नींबू पानी हो गया, छाछ लस्सी होगी. दीज आर रियली गुड, अंदर ठंडक लाते हैं. एक वन थिंग विच माई मदर यूज्ड टू गिव अस अ लॉट इज कतीरा गोंद इन दूध. दैट इज सो टेस्टी एंड इट इज सो ठंडा. तो वो हम बड़ा खूब सारा पी जाते थे. अब मुझे उसका सोडियम कंटेंट नहीं पता, बाकी नहीं, बट इट यूज्ड टू हेल्प अस टेक केयर ऑफ आवर वाटर इनटेक अ लॉट.
ठंडाई used to be a real
हाँ, ठंडाई, दैट इज आल्सो अमेजिंग. ठंडाई, आपके वो स्टॉल्स कितने लगते हैं ठंडाई के गर्मियों में?
Okay, so the people who are feeling jealous right now because they do not understand Hindi very well, Poonam talked about coconut water, Poonam talked about lemon water, lime water, and she talked about buttermilk, right? And Katira Gond, I have no clue what it is called in English.
I mean, you find it on Amazon if you put Katira Gond.
Professional tip from your personal child specialist podcast hosts. Okay, so we have talked about these things. We've talked about the sugar, we've talked about the water, we've talked about the electrolytes. Is there any other difference between one of those commercially available preparations and the natural drinks?
I think it's the preservatives and the synthetic, and it's artificial. Anything which is artificial or synthetic is definitely, I would say, inferior to something which is natural.
इतनी सारी चीजें हैं जो आपको नेचर में मिलती है. If you actually analyze just coconut water, it probably has more than 50 different things, including different minerals and different vitamins. You try to match that in a artificial preparation. You add some vitamins, you add some iron, but nature wins. No doubt about it.
Definitely, Gaurav. But now I have a follow-up question. Is everything negative about these drinks? Or we should delete them from our kids' diet? Or are there some positive features also in them?
Wonderful. Two things which come to my mind. One is that they taste very well. At least in my daughter's case, you know what helps is I tell her, you want to have your Tang, take it. But also take some coconut water or lemon water. And honestly, she's so dehydrated after her gymnastics that she's happy to take both. So that's the first part, that they will make your child more receptive to taking more fluids. And the second part, they do have some added minerals. So if I look into Tang, for example, I found that the iron content was pretty good, almost 3-4 mg in one serving. So yes, they can be used as an add-on, but not as a primary thing. सिर्फ बच्चा सिर्फ Glucon C, Glucon D, Tang नहीं पिए, but साथ में अगर बच्चा once in a while ले लेता है, primarily if the child is taking the other natural stuff, I think that's good. What do you feel?
Totally makes sense. I normally tell kids कि आप पहले पानी या नींबू पानी, same thing as what you are saying, पी लो, उसके बाद fix कर लो 1 small cup of Tang or Glucon D. You can have it, or they can take it intermittently, say twice a week.
Just a couple of things more. Let me ask you this now. One is, what about flavoring the water with things like cucumber and things like orange slices? In your experience, does that make any sense?
I find it very tasty. और जो आयुर्वेद हैं, they have apparently divided them कि सर्दियों में आपको अदरक और धनिया डालना चाहिए शायद, और गर्मियों में कुकुम्बर और पुदीना, because उनकी तासीर is hot and cold. But I found 2 groups of kids. Some just love it, and they have their own bottles of creating fusion water, and they themselves put the cucumber and the pudina or whatever else they want, and the others just hate it. I think it is the idea of what parents are telling them to go ahead, instead कि उनको they don't like the taste, because it hardly changes the taste. There's a very mild taste.
And the second thing is, what about soda? So some kids want to make soda and make into a drink. What do you have to say for that?
I think not all the time. Our daughter again is, total fan of soda. So she lemonade भी उसको lemon soda बनाना है. So it should not be all the time. I think there is some component of dehydration also in that.
Honestly, we have not written soda this time. So maybe next time we can do that as well. But certainly nothing beats plain simple water for making something or for drinking itself. Is there anything else that would you like to add, Poonam?
What I believe is it's the habit of taste. If the child is used to these artificial drinks, it's going to be tough for you to change that habit. But once they start drinking coconut milk and they know that is the option, or nimbu pani or chas lassi, so slowly that habit goes away. And the best example is, the best way to motivate them is to bring that change in yourself.
Positive parenting role model works for so many things. I think this is the best time to end the podcast. Thank you, Poonam. Thanks for being wonderful co-host again.
You're welcome, Gaurav. It was totally my pleasure.